If you are looking for an F&I job, if you're trying to break into the finance and insurance market, whether that's in an automotive dealership, an RV dealership, planes, it doesn't matter. We've done it all. If you are that person, then this video is for you. In this video, we're going to be talking about how you can go from a salesperson to an F&I manager, or maybe even another career to an F&I manager. We have helped a lot of people here at FinanceManagerTraining.com go from underwriters, from loan originators, from realtors to finance manager. And we've helped thousands of people who are in sales become acquainted with F&I and then find F&I jobs. So if that's you, if you're looking for an F&I job right now and you're frustrated because no one's calling you back, no one's taking your resume seriously, this video is specifically for you. And the truth is, the first F&I gig is the hardest to get. Once you get that one on your resume, all the other ones become easier because you have a track record. And for that reason, I often tell our students, even if job assistance get you a job in a smaller dealership or a dealership that you wouldn't typically want to consider, I tell them, strongly consider accepting that offer because again, the first F&I job you get is the hardest one to get. But that one puts you on the map. That one gets you a track record. That one gets you numbers that you can bring to future F&I interviews. That one gets F&I manager onto your resume, and that speaks volumes. And not only that, when you get that F&I manager title on your resume, you then start to bypass a lot of filters, especially the large dealerships. They can have filters on their resume readers. The computer actually goes through the resumes that are submitted and looks for specific keywords to pull out. And if you don't have those in there, you might get dumped. So it is key to get that very first job. But how do you get that very first job? Well, the number one thing you want to do, the one thing that I recommend above all others is to get trained. Invest in your career. That is a huge thing in this equation. Invest in your career. You want to get trained in automotive F&I, and I'll tell you why that is really important. If you are going to apply to a dealership, and I'm the general manager or the dealership principal, and I'm reading your resume, and I see a lot of sales experience, some excellent sales skills. You are number one on the board, number two on the board, whatever it is, on a monthly basis. I'm going to be impressed by that. But you know where I'm going to want to hire you and put you? I'm going to want to hire you and put you where you're good. I want to hire you and put you in sales, okay? You want to avoid that trap. You want to avoid getting put back in sales because that's where you are already. You want to elevate your career. You're trying to rise in the ranks and get that manager title, right? That's why you're watching this video. Well, the number one way to do that, in my opinion, is again, to invest in your career. So how do you do that? So if I'm the general manager and I'm looking at all these resumes that are coming in and I'm seeing resume after resume after resume from salespeople and they have no F&I experience and no F&I training whatsoever, those get tossed right in the trash if they already haven't been auto-filtered. However, if I see a salesperson who's number one, number two, number three in their dealership every single month, and they have taken the initiative to get F&I training on their own, they've taken the initiative to become F&I certified on their own. They've taken the initiative to enhance their career on their own. Do you know what that tells me? That tells me as the general manager or dealership principal, by the way, I've been both of those in my career. That tells me this person is serious about their career, they're serious about their job, and they'll be serious about my dealership. That speaks volumes to me. Now, I'll tell you, it may not immediately put you ahead of all the other F&I guys, but it will immediately rise you to the top of the group of those salespeople who are applying, and there's dozens of them who apply to every F&I job who do not have the F&I training. It will be good enough to probably land you an interview. And then once you get that interview, you go in and you blow their socks off. You show them how good you are. You show them your charisma. You show them what you can do for their dealership. And by the way, we have half a module that goes over how to interview super well in the FinanceManagerTraining.com course, which I highly suggest you look into. So to recap, our very first step in becoming an F&I manager with absolutely no prior experience, you want to invest in yourself, invest in your career, put up the upfront money to get the training you need so that when you do get hired, you can step on the floor that first day and nail it in the F&I office, okay? Show those dealership principals, show those finance directors, show those general managers that you take your career seriously and that they no longer have to train you. Maybe they'll do a little bit of on-the-job training, little stuff that is dealership specific, but you come in with that knowledge. That is so valuable. They no longer have to spend that money to train you because you've already been trained. All right, moving on to step number 2 in getting your first F&I job without any prior experience, and that is to show, not tell. I can tell you that in my experience, when people interview for F&I jobs, they do a whole lot of telling. I did this and I did that and I scored this and I was the top guy here or the top girl here and I got this award from Ford and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay? All they're hearing is you're good at sales, let me put them in sales, okay? Show, don't tell. And here's what I mean by that. That interview is your chance to sell yourself. Sell yourself. Show them that you're a good salesperson, don't tell them. Listen, GMs and dealer principals did not get to where they were because they're dumb. They can pick up on things. They can easily pick up that you're a really good salesperson by selling yourself without telling them. Let me give you an example that I give to our members inside the members portal at FinanceManagerTraining.com. A lot of students come to me during our one-on-one sessions that come free with the training, and they say, Ryan, I love everything you're saying, but one thing I can't get over is when the GM says, well, why should I hire you over John or Mark or Jane who has 10 more years of experience and they're actually in F&I? Why should I hire you who's brand new over them? And I tell them, that answer is simple. And here's what you say. Mr. General Manager, I completely understand why you feel that way. And if I was in your position, I might feel that way too. However, let me tell you why you should hire me over the other people who have 10 years of experience, who have a decade or 2 decades of experience in F&I. If you hire me or you hire them, you're going to get someone who knows what they're doing. I'm trained, they're trained. Both of us can step in day one and make money for your dealership. But one thing I can tell you is, based on my experience working in dealerships, if you hire the person with a decade or 2 of experience, you're also going to be hiring that person who's bringing in a decade or 2 of F&I baggage as well. They're bringing in misconceptions that they learned at previous dealerships. They're bringing in some ego because they've had success in F&I before. They're bringing in some things that may be great, but maybe also you don't want to deal with. With me, I am a blank slate. I come in day one with all of the necessary training to get going and run your F&I department successfully, but without those decade or 2 of baggage, without that decade or 2 of ego. You can shape me and mold me the way you see fit and the way you want, and I will do your dealership proud. I can tell you right now, if you hire me, your F&I profits will not take a dip. In fact, I believe that they will go up. If you come in with that confidence, you are not telling them that you're great in sales. You're showing them. You're showing them that, yes, you could hire those other people and they may do a good job too, but here is why you should hire me, or at least consider hiring me as well. And that's just one of the many closes you can use in the interview when you're interviewing at a dealership with a general manager or dealership principal or finance director. There are many more in the members portal. That is the second point. You want to show, not tell, when you're in that first F&I interview with the dealership. All right, moving on to step number 3 in landing your first F&I gig without any F&I experience in the past. And that is, you want to follow up on that interview. The vast majority of people who interview for F&I jobs or jobs in general, they will do the interview, they'll leave, they'll wait for a call, they might make one call to see where the person stands, and that's it. You want to follow up and you want to keep your name at the top of that dealership's list. You want your name to be remembered, not just from the great job that you did in the interview, but because you are consistently showing interest in that dealership. And one way to show a general manager or dealership owner that you have their interest in heart, that you want to make them money, that you put their dealership first, is to show interest. So my suggestion is when you leave that interview, that same night, you send an email to whoever you interviewed with. Thank you so much for allowing me the chance to interview with you today. After learning more about your dealership, the stuff you told me, I am even more interested in teaming up with you. I know that we will be successful together, etc. A couple days later, you want to send another email. Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so, thank you again for allowing me to interview for your F&I position. I am excited to get started. That right there is called the assumptive clause, which is something we go over in the members portal at FinanceManagerTraining.com. It assumes you already got the job. I am excited to get started. In addition to that, here are 2 or 3 reasons why I believe I'm going to be the perfect fit for you. And then you're going to be doing bullet points, bullet point 1, bullet point 2, bullet point 3, and it's 3 specific reasons, not generic, not bland, not stuff everyone says, specific reasons why your past, your history, your personality aligns with that dealership. And here's how you get that information. On almost every dealership website, you can go to the About Us page, and you can read the entire history of how that dealership started. Whether it was a grandfather or a great-grandfather, whether it was an aunt who started who passed it along to her niece, or whatever it was. You can find that full story. If there's not a lot on that page, you can Google the dealership's name, and there'll be newspaper articles from 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago that you can look up as well. And by looking at that history and looking at everything else you found about that dealership, you can find out exactly what that dealership, what that manager, what that ownership group truly values in their life and also their history. And then you can equate aspects of your life to aspects of that dealership's. And you can mesh those together and you can say, for these 3 specific reasons, I would be a great fit. The point is you're drawing parallels that connect you with that dealership. You're showing specific things that make an impression on the people who are going to hire you. I want you to remember one thing if you remember nothing else in this video. People hire people, not computers, not artificial intelligence, it's people. And the more you can connect with those people, the better chance you will get. It's why everyone says connections mean everything. Now, a lot of people say that because of nepotism and so forth, but the truth is it matters no matter what. Connections mean something. And the more you connect with the person who is in charge of your getting hired or not getting hired, the better off you'll be. I truly hope that this video helped you and that you soon land your first F&I gig. My suggestion, if you have not done so already, is to find an F&I school and get started training immediately. And let me tell you something up front, because this has led people astray for the longest time. You will hear story after story after story of people who say, don't do training. I got hired without training. You don't need it. And listen to me, that can happen. Maybe the GM starts to like you as a salesperson. He takes you under his wing and he brings you to the F&I office. Maybe you do so well, you catch the owner and she says, you know what? I want to see how you do in the F&I office. Maybe that happens. But let me tell you something. A lot of dealerships have 20 to 30 salespeople on their floor and they can't do it for all of them. You have a much better chance of getting hired if you take your career in your own hands, show interest, get the training you need, and take that next step.